Thank you for joining us at Homestead for Life. My name's Laura, and today we are talking about how to pressure can potatoes in our electric Carey canner. For our supplies, we need our jars, lids, and rings, our canning tool set, our ascorbic acid solution. We use Fruit Fresh, distilled white vinegar, our electric canner, mine's the Carey canner, and our washed, chopped, and soaking potatoes in the ascorbic acid solution. The first step to canning potatoes is preparing your potatoes. So we have already washed and cut our potatoes into 1/2 inch to 1 inch pieces, and they are now soaking in a water and ascorbic acid solution. We use our Fruit Fresh Produce Protector. What that does is it keeps your potatoes from getting brown while they're sitting in the jar and pretty much looking unappetizing and gross. From there, we are going to drain this solution off of them and then put them in boiling water for 2 minutes. Pull them out of the boiling water, put them in the jars, top them off with water with 1 inch headspace, and can them. So potatoes are super easy, and it makes for such a ready to go and simple side item. I usually use them in breakfast and things like that. Just pop open the can, throw them in the pan, brown them up a little bit, and you are ready to go. They are so convenient. So let's get draining. Okay, so we're going to strain our potatoes in this little contraption I've concocted. This is the inner pot to the pot I am boiling my potato water in, and this is just a pot to catch the water since I'm not doing this over the sink. So, one escapee. Alright, so our potatoes have been drained, closely, and we are going to put them in our pot of boiling water for 2 minutes. Now that our potatoes have been in the boiling water for a couple of minutes, we are going to drain them out and start putting them in our jars. So I'm going to use my same pot with most of the water emptied out, and I'm going to use that to hold my pot of potatoes so it doesn't leak water everywhere. Now you may be able to see in the background there I've got another pot of hot water boiling, and that's the water we're going to use to top these off for that 1 inch headspace, not the water these were cooked in. Okay? So we're going to fill our jars within 1 inch of the rim, which is to the bottom of this funnel. A couple more. And once we've got all these filled with potatoes, we are then going to top them off with water. We are going to fill our jars up with water to 1 inch below the top of the jar, which is called headspace. So you want 1 inch of headspace, which is to the bottom of my funnel. So we're going to do that to each jar. We've got them full, maybe we are going to take our spatula and get all the air bubbles we can out, get them sorted into the jar as best we can. And what typically happens is in this whole stabbing with the spatula and kind of squeegeeing around the outside, a lot of times we find out we can fit a little bit more into our jars. And sure enough, we found that we can fit a few more potatoes into some of these jars. Which is perfect because I have just a few more potatoes. A little bit more in that one. The beauty of the Carey electric canner is that it's so simple to use, and you can do small batches with it, so you don't have to save up your product, your food, and store it or freeze it or whatever until you have enough to can. You can can it in these small batches much easier without having to devote all day to babysitting that pressure gauge. The next step is wiping down the rims of the jars so that we can make sure that our lids have a nice clean seal. Alright, now we're going to get our lids out of our simmering water. They're a little hot, so we use our fun little magnets. Now we're going to put our rings on. And just finger tight with the rings. Okay, and the next step is to get our canner ready. Okay, so I've poured our leftover boiling hot water into a measuring cup. We have just over 4 cups, which is the 1 quart we need in our pressure canner. So we're going to pour that in there. We're going to get our cans in there. Now remember, when you're putting jars, cans, full of hot liquids in your canner, not to have cold water in there. So we use the same water outside the cans as it goes inside the can. We are going to add just a touch of vinegar because we have hard water and we don't want it to get the outside of the jars cloudy. So now that our jars are inside, we're going to close this up, turn it to seal it. We are going to leave it on exhaust for now. Plug it in. It beeps very, very loud. So from here we are going to press pressure cook. We are going to hit the time button until it reaches 35 minutes, and then we're going to hit start. From there, what the canner is going to do is it's going to count down from E10 to E3. Takes about 30 minutes, and then it's going to beep at us. That tells us to come in and change our exhaust vent to airtight. Okay, so it's going to hit its pressure. Then, and once it hits the right pressure, that's when the timer is going to start counting down from the 30 minutes. Okay, so our time, pressure cook, then our time. Spins and spins and spins. It's going to do the E thing. When it beeps, it gives you about 10 minutes to come in and flip this. It's going to gauge the pressure for you, so don't sweat it, okay? That timer is going to start when it's at the right pressure point. Okay, so we're going to let it go and come back when it's ready for us to flip that exhaust valve. Now that our Carey electric canner has finished cooking, we are going to take our cans out. So what happened in the meantime is it beeped, we closed the exhaust valve, It started the timer. The timer expired. And then it beeps again. You come and unplug it and let it sit and depressurize for an hour. So now it's been sitting and it's time to open her up carefully. One thing I like about this versus my Instapot is that it's on a hinge. So I don't have to figure out what to do with the lid after I open it. It is a snug fit. Did you hear it pop? One of them already popped. But these are in there snug. They are going to be hard to grab. It was hard to get the last one in. So we're going to grab one out with a towel. And let it finish cooking on our drying rack. There's another one. Okay, so we have 3 that have popped so far. We're just waiting for that magic sound on the last 2, and they are done. You can see that they're still cooking inside. The water is still boiling in there. So what we will do is we will leave these out on the counter overnight. Tomorrow when they're cooled off, we'll label them, remove the lids, and put them in our storage. The reason we remove the lids is it's number 4. Number 4 popped. The reason we remove the lids, sorry, the rings, not the lids. The reason we remove the rings is because, for one, it can hold bacteria, which we don't want it to do. But also, if this were to come unsealed in storage, what can happen with the ring on is that it can reseal, even though the food inside has gone bad because it was opened. So if you leave the rings off, it's not going to reseal. You can tell very easily that it's not closed and that you need to discard the food. Okay, so we are 4 for 5 so far. I'm confident the last one is just moments away. But thank you for joining us at Homestead for Life. Please like and subscribe to our videos. Number 5, perfect 100% success on our potatoes. But please like us, subscribe to us, and let us know in the comments what other videos you want to see. And have a great night. Happy canning.